The blur of blue and silver moves at impossible angles, leaving defenders clutching empty air. That was Barry Sanders, the man who turned football fields into his personal playground. But before he became a legend, before he made the NFL his stage, two other players were chosen ahead of him in the 1989 draft. Two teams passed on what would become one of the most electrifying talents football had ever seen. But this story isn't just about missed opportunities. It's about three paths that diverged on draft day. Paths that would change the landscape of professional football forever. Troy Aikman stood tall as the first pick, his UCLA career making him the Dallas Cowboys' choice to save a struggling franchise. The Cowboys weren't just drafting a quarterback. They were betting their entire future on a young man walking into a team that had crumbled to a dismal 3-13 season. Their fans weren't just hungry for hope, they were starving for it. That hope seemed misplaced during Aikman's rookie year. The Cowboys stumbled to an even worse 1-15 record, and the critics' whispers turned to shouts. 15 losses, 9 touchdowns, 18 interceptions. The numbers told a story no rookie wants to read, but sometimes the darkest moments come right before dawn. What happened next became NFL legend. With unwavering support from coach Jimmy Johnson and owner Jerry Jones, Aikman transformed from a questioned rookie into the maestro of America's team. His precision passes and cool demeanor under pressure orchestrated one of football's greatest dynasties. 3 Super Bowl rings, 6 Pro Bowl selections, a Hall of Fame bust in Canton. The doubters fell silent as Aikman's legacy grew louder. Then there's the second pick, Tony Mandarich. The Green Bay Packers saw a can't-miss prospect, a physical specimen dubbed the Incredible Bulk. Sports Illustrated plastered him on their cover, calling him the best offensive line prospect ever. The hype was deafening. The reality? Devastating. Mandarich's story became a cautionary tale of unfulfilled potential. While Sanders was dancing around defenders and Aikman was collecting championships, Mandarich grappled with performance issues and off-field struggles. The can't-miss prospect missed by a mile, earning the unwanted label of one of the NFL's biggest draft busts. This tale of 3 picks reveals the beautiful uncertainty of draft day. It's a day when dreams take flight or crash land, when franchises rise or fall on the weight of a single decision. The Cowboys struck gold with Aikman, building a dynasty that defined an era. The Packers' gamble on Mandarich cost them a chance at Sanders, who would go on to leave defenders and records shattered in his wake. These intertwined stories remind us why we love sports. Because on any given day, in any given moment, the entire future can pivot on a single choice. The 1989 NFL Draft wasn't just about picking players, it was about choosing destinies. 3 picks, 3 paths, 3 very different legacies that continue to echo through NFL history. And to think, it all started with a decision that changed the course of football forever. Behind every statistic in Aikman's career lay something numbers couldn't capture. The ice in his veins during game-winning drives, the quiet confidence that steadied his teammates, the leadership that transformed a struggling franchise into champions. While other quarterbacks posted flashier numbers, Aikman mastered the art of winning when it mattered most. The Cowboys' gamble on the UCLA quarterback had paid off beyond their wildest dreams. But just 1 pick later, a very different story was unfolding in Green Bay. Tony Mandarich arrived at the Packers facility carrying the weight of unprecedented hype on his massive shoulders. At 6 feet 6 inches and north of 300 pounds, the Incredible Bulk seemed carved from football mythology. Sports Illustrated even put him on their cover, shirtless, muscled, and seemingly invincible. Teams salivated over his potential, seeing a once-in-a-generation talent who could dominate the trenches for years to come. Reality, however, had other plans. As Mandarich stepped onto NFL fields, the giant began to shrink. His college dominance, likely fueled by steroids, evaporated under the league's stricter drug testing. Elite pass rushers exposed his technical flaws, turning the unstoppable force into a turnstile. Off the field, a darker battle raged as Mandarich wrestled with painkiller addiction, further derailing his promising career. 3 disappointing seasons later, Green Bay cut their losses. The same teams that had once dreamed of drafting him now pointed to Mandarich as a cautionary tale, especially with future Hall of Famers Barry Sanders and Derek Thomas selected right after him. Yet Mandarich's story wasn't finished. Years later, he mounted an unexpected comeback with the Indianapolis Colts. While he never became the dominant force once predicted, he carved out a respectable role, starting 32 games. His journey from can't-miss prospect to historic bust to solid contributor reminds us that even in failure, redemption remains possible. Sometimes the most compelling stories in sports aren't about reaching the stars, but about finding peace with where you land. The tale of Tony Mandarich serves as more than just another draft bust story. It stands as a stark reminder that combines results and magazine covers can't measure a player's heart, determination, or ability to handle the crushing pressure of professional football. Raw talent might get you drafted, but it's the unseen qualities that determine whether you'll survive. Enter Barry Sanders, the third pick of that fateful 1989 draft. When the Detroit Lions called his name, they weren't just selecting a running back, they were catching lightning in a bottle. Fresh from Oklahoma State, Sanders had already etched his name into college football lore. His 1988 season read like fiction: 2,600 rushing yards, 37 touchdowns, performances that left spectators wondering if they'd ever see anything like it again. The Heisman Trophy was just the beginning. When Sanders first touched an NFL field, the league held its collective breath. What followed was a decade-long display of football artistry that words struggled to capture. His rookie season ended with Offensive Rookie of the Year honors, but that was just the opening act. Sanders didn't just run past defenders. He danced around them, spun through them, left them grasping at shadows. Even behind a struggling offensive line, he turned broken plays into highlight reels, making the impossible look routine. The numbers tell part of the story. 15,000 rushing yards reached faster than any player before him, 10 Pro Bowls, 6 All-Pro selections, 4 rushing titles. In 1997, he joined football's most exclusive club, rushing for 2,053 yards and claiming the MVP award. But statistics can't capture the electricity that coursed through stadiums when Sanders touched the ball. Every handoff held the potential for magic. Yet for all his brilliance, team success proved elusive. The Lions, despite having one of football's greatest weapons, never built a championship roster around him. Sanders never reached the Super Bowl, a fact that gnawed at his competitive spirit. Then came 1999. Sanders, still in his prime and within striking distance of Walter Payton's all-time rushing record, walked away. No farewell tour, no emotional press conference, just gone. He later explained that his passion for the game had faded, along with his faith in the Lions' direction. But perhaps this ending was fitting for Sanders, who always seemed to move to a rhythm only he could hear. Even in retirement, he did things his way, leaving fans to wonder what might have been while cherishing what was. Barry Sanders didn't just play football, he redefined it. His legacy lives on in every highlight reel, in every conversation about the greatest to ever play the game, in every young running back who dreams of making defenders miss. More than stats and accolades, Sanders gave us moments of pure athletic poetry that time cannot fade. The 1989 NFL Draft tells us 3 stories that mirror life itself. Troy Aikman's rise from a struggling rookie to a dynasty's architect. Tony Mandarich's fall from can't-miss prospect to cautionary tale, and his quiet redemption in Indianapolis. And Barry Sanders, the magician who could turn a football field into his personal canvas until he decided to walk away on his own terms. Each story carries its own truth about football, about success, about life. Aikman showed us that leadership and resilience can build empires. Mandarich reminded us that hype is just noise and redemption is always possible. Sanders proved that greatness doesn't always need championships to be remembered forever. 30 years later, this draft class still captivates us because it represents everything we love about sports. The triumphs, the failures, the comebacks, and the mysteries of what could have been. These weren't just picks on a draft board, they were decisions that shaped football history. What player from this legendary draft class left the biggest impression on you? Share your memories in the comments below. See you in the next video.